Hi, my name is Reverend Edwin Guy, and I'm the pastor of Victory Christian Tabernacle and Galilee Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York. The video series that I am doing, as I've said in earlier videos, is with the hope and intent that it will help to strengthen relationships, both pre-marital and post-marital. Very often in premarital relationships, folk are so excited and thrilled about getting married that they somehow ignore, whether it's conscious or unconscious, things that are important for a long-lasting relationship. It is not simply about having a wedding, but you want to have a life together, and that is the intent of getting married in the first place. But you want to have a long and happy life together. Till death do you part is not supposed to be a goal. It's We should desire to live a happy life on this side, and to do so, especially when you're married. It's going to take some work, whether you are engaged or newlyweds, or whether you've been married for several years. There is never a point where you can put up your feet and say, we've arrived and we don't have to work towards keeping this relationship together or keeping it strong. Even if you don't consciously and outwardly say it, it is still a constant work effort that requires both parties to participate in. I will say this, that if you are of a mind that is 50-50, then you are wrong. The fact is, someone always has to go a step further. Someone always has to go above and beyond. And if that person is you, you ought not be resentful or angry because you're doing it for the sake of your marriage. Don't worry about friends and family members that might say, "Oh, you're stupid for hanging in there," or you're just wasting your time. If you believe in your relationship and believe in the commitments and the vows that you made to your mate and before the Lord, then you continue to work towards doing all you can, which is the reason for this particular video, which is entitled "Trusting God in the Valley." The fact is that I've told my congregation on several occasions that I don't have to teach you how to live on the mountaintop. I don't have to teach you how to live with plenty of money, or with friends that are by your side all the time, with family by your side all the time while things are going well. We don't have to learn that. That comes very natural, and those are the times that we hope for to never end. But the reality is that sometimes it does, and not every road is straight. Not every road is without its potholes. And when we refer to relationships, there can be several potholes and very steep hills and mountains that you have to deal with. The terrain is not always smooth, but if you can trust God in all things, for all things, with all things, and through all things, knowing that He is right by your side, leading and guiding and directing you. And if you can spend that time to get to know Him better, it will help you to weather the storm, and to navigate through those valley experiences that you have in your relationship. Um, the fact of the matter is, rocky road marriages, rocky road relationships, they took time to become rocky. They didn't become rocky overnight. If you go back to when you first met, If you think about the times early in your relationship or early in your marriage, things were just as wonderful as they could be. And but somewhere over time, things began to sour or begin to get rough. And my point is simply to say that just like it took time for things to go south, it will take time to get things back on a smooth surface. Don't get frustrated and give in, and don't put a time limit on when you expect things to get better or else. That's not what marriage is about. That's not what growing in a relationship is about. You guys work together. You continue to work, and it's so important that you both want the relationship to work. One of the things that I always ask couples when I do counseling is, and I ask them individually in private as opposed to bringing them in together, is do you want this relationship to work? If both say yes, great and wonderful. But if even one says no, then there's nothing more I can do. As I've said in other videos, I don't do separation counseling. I am more than willing and happy to help couples that are thinking about getting married, or newlyweds, or even that have been married for years, to help in whatever way I can to keep them together and keep them moving forward and growing in their relationship with each other and with God. But if one or more has decided that they don't want to be a part of this relationship anymore, then there's nothing that I can or will do to aid them to have a amicable separation or anything like that. That's not what I do, and it's because I believe that, as I said, that God can guide us through those rough times. He's done it in your personal life. He's done it for you and or your family members, and He won't leave you now. There's a song that says, "The God on the mountain is still God in the valley." It says, "The God of the day is still God in the night, and the God of the good times is still God in the bad times." And so continue to trust God regardless of what your situation might look like. Uh, don't walk by sight, walk by faith. Trust God that if He brought you two together, and if you believe in your heart that this is who God wanted you to be with, then continue to trust Him to work out your situation and your individual differences. One final note before I close is ask yourself these questions. The first is, do you consider yourself a good listener? Whatever your answer is, obviously, if you're being honest with yourself, if you don't think you are, then that's something to work on. It's something important because, as we know, the same thing that you did to get the person, it takes to keep them. And early on, you may have been a good listener, and now you are no longer of that mind. But we've got to get back to those ways and those things that we did. The other question is, are there any areas that you think need to be improved in you as a spouse? Not only do I need to improve my ability to listen, but there might be some other things that you see within yourself that need to be improved. Don't just ignore these things. Work on them both within and without. In other words, as you ponder all of the things that you like to go to, for your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend to do and to do better, you think about what you can do better yourself because very often what happens is one action sparks a reaction from someone else. And so you work on you and pray and let God work on your fiance or your spouse. One final thought, and that is that if your relationship seems sluggish, check the air. AIR. That stands for check the affection, check the intimacy, and check the romance. The affection simply referring to just hand holding and hugging and occasional kisses on the cheek, not romantic, just being affectionate. Just that simple touch from time to time can go a long way. The I, which stands for intimacy, that's a more intimate type of thing where we might have a dinner, a quiet, romantic type dinner, but with a more intimate atmosphere. The idea of the intimacy is simply the one-on-one time, the affection you can show and you can grab a hand in public. The intimacy is important. You ought to have some intimate times where not so much that lead to romance, which I'll come to, but that are just times that you can have just with you and your spouse, you and your fiance. And the final, the R for romance, don't allow yourself to think that everything is okay. Look at what you are doing in the romance field, in the romance category. Look at what you did uh, in times past, early in the relationship, and look at what you're doing now. And if they are vastly different, then you need air. And so, with that, I'm going to say goodbye for now. If I am so led to add to these videos, I'll do so, and I will address them. The link will say will show that it's been updated. And so God bless you. Thanks for listening. Share these messages. If it's been a blessing to you, share it with someone else and just let them know that no matter what, God loves them and they don't have to give up because certainly God hasn't given up on us. God bless you and good night.